done watching Suncoast. This is about a teen living with her strong-willed mother who must take her brother to a specialized facility, and she strikes up an unlikely friendship with an eccentric activist at a protest surrounding a landmark medical case. Now, that's about all you need to know going into this. This is very much a dramedy. It's going to select theaters this week and will go on Hulu next week. And man, I was not planning on covering this movie, but the second I saw Nico Parker was in this, I got very excited because I loved what she did in The Last of Us Episode 1, Season 1. Broke my entire heart, broke all of our hearts, and she continues to break hearts in this movie. This is a semi-true story based off the director and writer Laura Chinn, who makes her directorial debut here, but this is kind of one of those movies that I didn't know exactly what to expect out of it, and it's kind of a slice of life in terms of one teenager's life who now has to come to the realization that her brother that she grew up with is going to die. And when you put him in a facility, like basically hospice, you never know what day will be their last. And how does the mother feel on this? How do you feel on this in your prime state within going through school? And for anyone who's ever dealt with someone going into hospice, or anyone who's ever really dealt with an issue like this, you understand that there are a lot of things you can be worried about, and it can break you down. And Suncoast, for me, with all of its faults, at the end of the day, establishes some of the most dramatic avenues that it absolutely needed to. And while I do have issues with this movie, and I'll talk about them, this is an emotional roller coaster that I'm excited to talk about today. So make sure to leave your thoughts down below, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's dive into this. So first thing I really want to mention is the performances, because I think that's like where this film really takes storm and really takes off in its dramatical avenues, but also its strengths. And flat out, Nico Parker, fantastic. Absolutely loved her in this movie, and thought she was hands down the best part about the entire film. There is no doubt about it. I absolutely loved her, and I was really taken back by her entire story, her structure, and everything of that nature. She really broke me down as a person. There's a couple moments in here that, again, goes down to the directing, and we'll talk about that, but one in reality of where she's watching old videos of her and her brother. And just her small little moment there just really tore my heart apart. But every little moment here, to the heartwarming moments, to the humor, to the little slices of life that you get as a teenager, to, of course, the dramatical avenue of preparing to lose someone. And Nico Parker really does a fantastic job with this, as well as Laura Linney, who plays her mother. And I think Laura Linney, she's just a very underrated actress. She's excellent. She was fantastic in Ozark a couple of years back. And this right here, I think some people might think she's an annoying mother and overbearing and all that stuff. And I'm sure we've all felt that at one point in time with our mother. But both of them are grieving in a completely and separate different way. And I like that the film establishes and showing that specifically throughout the entire film. And last but not least, Woody Harrelson is great. I love these side roles that he takes on where he's kind of a mentee or a mentor to someone. And in reality, that's really all he is to this. Is this kind of like blinding light to Nico Parker's character. And personally, I wish he was actually in the movie more. I think there was such a great chemistry between the two that it kind of felt a little bit lackluster that he wasn't in it enough. And again, we'll talk about that in a second, but he's fantastic. The performances are fantastic. And Laura Chinn is great. She put her heart and soul into this movie. And as a directorial debut, you can very much tell that she just left it all out there. And in terms of when you watch something like this, you can say, oh yeah, it's a film. It's got its moments. But from what performance, and as a director, I always feel this, is that as a director, your chance, what you're supposed to do is get the best performance out of your actors. And what Laura Chinn here was exactly did that. Did you go big and bombastic with the camera, the editing, anything over stylized? No. This is very much a typical dramedy, a slice of life in one teenager's life. And that's it. There, for me, was nothing more than just that, and I don't think Laura Chinn needed to do anything of that. She just needed to bring this essence and bring this scenario to life, and she very much did. And I was, again, very much taken back by that. And I think her directing here is solid, and I'm excited to see what she does next, specifically because you can tell the passion that's put into this film. For that, the rest of the film is just good. I think other than those two things, there are a couple of things that do hold the film back from being like, wow, this is like a must-watch, a great dramatic film. And one part of that is I think they spend a little bit too much time with the friends. Now, I understand slice of life wanting to show like what's going outside, how is she reacting, how is she kind of coping with what is going on. And I like the idea overall, but I don't think it completely works, and it can hurt the pacing just a little bit. And it's nothing to do with like performances of friends or anything. They're fine. It just seems very generic and typical. And again, this is based on a true story. So possibly Laura Chinn, this is what she did as a kid and when this happened to her. But for me, didn't really fully gravitate to the friends. I would have liked a little bit less of them and a little bit more of Woody Harrelson. I think his dynamic with Nico is so freaking fantastic in here that it actually bothered me that he was not in it more with her, to give her life lessons, to kind of be that figure and that parent figure that she desperately needed in her life. And you don't see that. And I think, if I'm going back to my pros for a second, I think the themes, like the strongest themes and storylines in this movie, very much show to how people grieve, how people react to that, but also what can happen to someone who doesn't have a parent figure in their life. And I think Laura Linney's character, like, parents can maybe look at that who maybe have dealt with this and like notice that, like, yeah, like, I need to still be there for my other children. I need to take all the weight that I possibly can. And I think there's a lot of learning and a lot of stuff that like people can just really dive into. There's one moment in particular between them both arguing that both of them make correctly exactly points that need to be made, and they're both right in their way. The way that it kind of comes about, that may not be right, but that argument primarily towards the end of the film is one of the big hard-hitting ones, because everything they are saying is completely true. And alongside that, again, it just really comes down to the script. I think some of the storylines and some of the themes get a little bit messy with the fact that she spends so much time with her friends. And it kind of becomes like a vibe in a way, which I'm not really sure why. But again, that's like such a small nitpick. I think Suncoast is a brilliantly little movie that is going to be going on Hulu, and it's a movie that I definitely think a lot of you guys will discover on streaming. If you are watching this, though, before, when it's in theaters prior, the week before in limited run, I really do think you should try and check it out. If you can't, then again, Hulu is the way to do it. If you're someone who's ever dealt with something of this nature or dealt with someone going to hospice, it is something that I feel like will be a nice little grieving tool. And when I look at what Laura Chinn was able to accomplish here, that's what I think this film was made for, was for people like that. And as someone who went through someone going through hospice last year, this kind of felt like the perfect roundabout and something for me to kind of like latch on and, I don't know, kind of have a little bit of a feel. And I don't know, kind of have like a little bit of thoughts and feelings towards. So with all that said, guys, I'm going to give Suncoast a B. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and comment down below your guys' thoughts. And of course, until next time, stay classy.